The feud between the mayor and the city council and the city attorney continues. Mark Larson is going to try to help us straighten it all out this morning.
I have it all figured out. No, I don't. If I did, I could bottle that and we could make millions. But by the way, earlier I was looking at the report you had with the big boom fireworks. I thought it was actually people setting up for what's going on at City Hall today, based on what Jan Goldsmith.
Show?
Yeah, I mean, the city attorney. I wondered, first of all, Jan Goldsmith, who I've known for a long time, and Bob Filner I've known for a long time. I wondered how long it would take for the city attorney to do and say what he did this morning. I mean, there have been signs of that, but it was a kinder, gentler Jan Goldsmith today, just very measured, talking about, okay, here's where the mayor is not doing things legally, 3 different places. And I was kind of surprised he didn't get into a lot on the Sun Road issue with the developer money that came and,
we ran out of time.
And went.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that'll be part of this thing too. But first and foremost, it was, okay, what does the city attorney do? What's legal, what's not, and that's been at the crux of this feud for a long time. That said, again, no surprises with Bob Filner. This is his style. This talk about how combative and how radical he can be. Let's face it, both sides have radicals. So when your radical's in charge, you kind of like your radical.
They've both said to us on a number of occasions, this isn't personal. Trust me, it's not personal. Do you buy that?
Of course it's personal. They have to say it's not personal, but after a while, if we're put ourselves in their roles, either side, it gets personal after a while when you're basically being told in a variety of ways by a variety of people sometimes that what you do stinks. Obviously, that's going to be a problem. So
you brought up the Sun Road issue. For our viewers, explain what's going on there with the $100,000
This is the case where Mayor Filner said at the end of last week that he thought this was coming for a couple of pet projects, a veterans issue and a bike issue, bicycles. And then there was the damning evidence that there was a phone call to Kevin Faulkner, a voicemail, the way I understand it, pretty much making it sound like this is a quid pro quo kind of a deal. We'll give you the $100,000 and then you're going to help us on these other issues. Now that's plain old politics. The mayor says he didn't know anything about it. It was an aides, another staffer's problem. The staffer has now been one of the 2 who quit.
Right.
Staffer says, no, he knew about it. So we've got all of that mystique. That's why I'm sure I'd be surprised if the city attorney doesn't go there. But first and foremost, he's got to establish, again, what his job is, what his credibility is, what it legally says in the city charter that he does. I think this is also interesting. I put my conspiracy hat on over the weekend, wondering if maybe part of that, and I hope this isn't true, maybe the mayor has been thinking, in case some of this stuff comes, whatever the stuff is, and I'm not saying it's the Sun Road deal, but in case it came up, what better way to make sure that the guy who would come against you with charges is discredited every chance you get, including going to a press conference and so forth. And I hope that's not the case, but it is interesting theater.
Yes.
But and no kumbaya anytime soon.
It seems like so much drama. I mean, these are political leaders that we have elected to be in charge of our city. Can't they figure it out?
Not yet. I don't, unless somebody goes off to happy camp, and it is summer camp season, so maybe. But unless they do that soon, again, people say, oh, Filner's ego's too big. Let's face it, anybody in politics, or in broadcasting for that matter, we've all got some egos. They have egos. And when feathers get ruffled, then things happen. We've seen this before when Mike Aguirre was city attorney. Sometimes he'd be right, sometimes he'd be just setting his hair on fire, bless his heart. It's the nature of politics. Passions get inflamed. You're trying to stick up for people. I think in Bob Filner's defense, in some areas, I think he truly cares about the downtrodden. I mean, that's been tried and true on the liberal side and conservatives for years, but he's a true believer. This is his style. People knew this was his style. Now, does that get you in trouble sometimes? And is there a time to then, as Jan Goldsmith was saying, sort of maybe think this through, get some help? Maybe so. Maybe this is a good time.
There's a difference between ego and mean-spirited, though.
Yeah, there is.
And
there is.
We're seeing a lot of mean-spirit.
There's a lot of nasty here, and that's the nature of politics, too. The old days where, I mean, Jerry Sanders was a very effective mayor, and did Jerry have a temper when necessary? Of course, but he didn't go set it on display. The question is, how much do you want this to become theater and, in fact, be used against you? There's a point where you have to say, okay, maybe that's a little much, and maybe that's where Mayor Filner is right now. But you haven't heard the Jan Goldsmith who was on this morning. If I was Jan Goldsmith, I would be just, chomping at the bit.
Fired up,
He was chilling this morning.
He was. Everybody's calm, cool. And that's the point. Somebody's got to come in there and play Switzerland. I've offered to do that before if necessary. We'll just sit down and have a little happy time there. And
get wine and beer.
They haven't called
do something,
you yet,
But the idea they were going to go in and wear disguises was pretty funny. I mean, that's a whole new world right there. Can't wait to see that.
Mark,
Thanks so much for coming in.